Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of our farming RPG tutorial series. So let's pick up where we left off. Now we have our chickens. Now we want to add more things to them. For instance, we want a tab where we can track their relationships and things like that. So let's do that. So first we need some icons. I've got this animal pack over here from Kenny. Let's go and download it. And over in our asset pack, we just select the chicken, the chick, dog, and the cow, since these are the animals that we will mainly be working with. Put them all here. Set them to sprites. And now let's go over to our essentials prefab. And we'll set up a new tab. So just like before, duplicate this, name this to animals tab. To add a new window. So when your manager, call this animals. Change this to open up the animals window. And then change the image. Set this to maybe a chicken. Duplicate the relationship panel. Rename this to animals panel. And yeah, we'll make a new script as well. Call this animals listing manager. Because we can't reuse relationship listing manager because it's skewed toward you have to use the character data, which we can't. So over in animal listing manager, have it be a listing manager. Displays the animal relationship state. Now there'll be an error as always, so we need to implement class abstract function display listing. As you can see in relationship listing manager, it has the display function over here that loads in the character data and the relationship. We want the same thing for our animal, so we'll reuse this class and create an overload function. An overload function is basically the same function. Instead of character data, I have animal data. It's going to do the exact same thing here. Instead of character data, it's going to be animal data, which is why we're reusing this class. And now, over here in our display listing, take this, rename this to relationship. Instead of character data, it's animal data. Name, it's the animal type, since names don't mean anything for animals. And under our listing game object, display the animal data. Now over in our animals panel, let's create a set of relationship listing manager. We need animal listing manager. The listing grid. But now let's reuse the character entry prefab. Remove the relationship listing manager component. And we have our panel. Now we need to add it to UI manager. So let's go over to UI manager, We've already added the animals tab, so now we need the corresponding game object. And over in the open window function, we'll add it to the list of all the screens to disable. And then we have to create a case over here. Same thing over here. Don't forget to assign the variables as well. So our animal relationship will be from this panel. As you can see, they're here. We forgot to set the chicken sprite, so it's fine. Let's do that right now. Chicken sprite over in resources, animals, portrait the chicken. There, now we have Amelia and Wilfred. The chicken shouldn't have that many hearts. Let's create a prefab variant over here. And disable half the hearts. And we'll save this as a prefab variant. Change this over to animal entry. It's a bit better. Yeah, we'll adjust the UI elements later, but that's what we want for now. So we have our relationship tab, but we don't have a way to give them hearts yet. We can't be friends with our animals yet. So let's add capacity for our animals to do that. So different Harvest Moon games have a different way of managing animals. So essentially there will be either like a stress level or like a mood in which an animal feels happy, sad, and when it's sad it gets sick, yada yada yada, it can die and all that. But to make things simpler, let's just create a mood. Give the animals a mood and for now. So declare constant set max mood. And we have a private because we want to make it a property. So what we're basically doing is make this an internal variable. We're clamping it, so any changes will keep it below the max mood. The minimum will be 0. And now our animal relationship state. Once the animal is born, is created, we need to set a default mood. So by default, let's just set it to the max mode. So every animal is born happy. we need another constructor overload to load up the mood. So in future, for our save and load data. And now that we have this mood system ready, we can change up the dialog over in animal behavior. So instead of just having, oh, this guy seems happy, so we'll create a separate function. And instead of this, let's make this a string. First we need the mood. But now we don't know whether he's happy, sad, or whatever. So. And let's have a action dialog end. And we just shift this. Okay. And now we need to alter the line according to the current mood of the chicken. And we'll make it so that it improves the mood once you talk to it for the first time, and after that it will not reward you anymore. So this will be called for the first conversation of the day. 30. We'll do a check here. So if he hasn't talked to the animal yet, add this to the actions that we'll execute on the dialog end. In our game state manager, the end of the day, we need to reset the mood as well. Do a for each loop. Now you wonder, so why do we have this variable gift given today? So what's the point of this? We can't give our animals any gifts. So what we're going to do is reuse this variable to refer to the animal has been fed. And we want to make it so that if you've talked to the animal today, at the end of the day, prove your relationship. So why is there like because for our human NPCs, we directly increase our friendship points with them when we talk to them. But why do we have an additional layer? We have a mood and friendship points. It's because an animal can be feeling sad while you have a good relationship with them. Maybe in recent times you've neglected the animal. So we need a separate property to gauge the animal's mood, which will affect the quality of produce that it will have. And friendship is also another important factor for other things like selling in the Harvest Moon games. In other Harvest Moon games, instead of mood, it has stress points. So instead of having it be a positive thing, every time you neglect the animal, it adds on to the stress points, and then it deducts from there. But we're doing it the other way, so it's easier to see, and it's more simplified that way. So now let's move on to feeding the animal. So first let's go to the chicken coop. this box will be our feed box. Set its tag to item. Make this prefab. And we'll create a new script that will handle this. So just like the incubator, we need a new script. Call this feed box. And we'll make it an interactable object. We can refer to our incubator with a boolean, whether it contains the thing placed inside, and a game object, and an ID. So let's do that. And we'll override pickup. And just like our incubator with a boolean function, whether it can be incubated, create another similar function like that. So likewise, so when we assign the item, it's not going to be egg, it's going to be the chicken feed. So no worries. But now if we can feed, we will feed. And just like incubator, there's the set incubation state. We also have create a function that would do that. Yeah, pretty straightforward. So when we feed the animal, we'll set the feed state to true and consume the item, which is we place the feed. And now feed box and we adjust the scale accordingly. So create a prefab. And now let's create the item under our imported our resources, items, create a new item. Let's call this chicken feed. Thumbnail will be this. Game object okay. Don't forget to add this to the item list. We set the tag to item. It's the chicken feed. don't forget. In future, when we have other animals, you can put like the feed in like the barn and just have it accept a different item. So such a way that you won't so accept the different feed for the different animal. So over here, let's give the player some chicken feed. And there we can put it in. Now we just have to make the feed do what it does. So first off, I think we need to, since we have a chicken here, in future we're gonna have cows, gonna have other animals. So we'll need to make some helper functions that will make things easier when it comes to save it to managing our data. So we'll create a function here, get animals by type, and take in a string. Also create an overload function just in case, and also to make things easier. Okay, so now that we have this helper function, let's go over to our chicken coop. Just like the incubator, we need a class to manage all our feed. You know what, we'll have two, one for each of our pets. And then we'll create a script, call this animal feed manager. And just like our incubator, there is a static list of all the eggs currently being incubated. So now we must have a certain list of all the feed boxes that exist. But we have a problem. We can't just declare a list like this because not all feed boxes are the same. Some are for different animals. And so we'll need a dictionary which will contain our animal boolean, because essentially, unlike the incubation manager, we don't have a lot of things we want to track, so we don't need to create a safe state. It's just a boolean. So whether the feed is checked or not, if there's anything in there. Unlike incubation manager, because we have to track the eggs, the status of the incubation, we don't have to save this at all because it resets the next day. And then we need the animal data. So we'll need a register function, just like our incubator, where they did a loop. And then we'll have a function that loads the data. So first we need to access this dictionary. So first we need to check if it contains the key. If not, we'll create a new entry. By default, nothing will be put inside. So after that, we'll get the box status. Do a loop. Now every time we start, we register feed boxes and load. Actually, to make things easier, why don't we just, because for here, we're gonna add a animal feed manager, and then we have to manually assign all feed boxes. But they're all children anyway, so why don't we just do this? So feed boxes equals get component in children feed box. Oh, but it's gonna return an array instead of a list. There's no reason why we have a list anyway. So let's just make this. And now instead of count, it's gonna be length. So now we need a function to feed our animal. We make a new function, public void feed in the ID list animal relationship states eligible animals, because each feed box is different, and animal stats, get animals by type, animals. Oh yeah, don't forget to set this to chicken. So when I put feed into this, it's gonna feed my first chicken. When I put feed into this, it's gonna feed my second chicken. So how we're gonna do this is we're gonna do a for each loop. So we're gonna find the first animal that is not fed. We will give him this, break out of the loop. And now we'll update the status. Now when we go back to feed box, and now we save it. Oh, they all seem sad because we didn't, because they started with 0 because they weren't spawned with a maximum mood, but it's okay. We can fix that. Feed them some things. So as you can see, they're fed. So now we need to improve the mood. I think over in Game State Manager, let's reorganize this a little bit. We should make this a separate function because our logic is going to be a bit more complex. So put this over in animal stats on day reset. So these are the tasks that we have to do for animal related stuff. So first off, if we've talked today, we increase the friendship points. Maybe instead of 15, we have it 30. And if we didn't talk today, it'll affect our friendship. And this formula, it'll be 10 minus friendship points. So the higher the friendship points, the less it will decrease. So once you feed your animal, you increase its mood. And if you don't feed it, decrease by 100 and you lose friendship points. Okay, now go over to Game State Manager. We also need to reset the feed boxes. So because once you feed it, at the end of the day, it's not going to be fed anymore. Okay. So sad, sad. I'm now root 30. And the next day, the feed should be gone. Yep, and we can feed them again. See, the mood has improved. Mood is 75 now. Now they're all pretty happy. We restored their moods. So what happens if I only feed one of them? I only feed Amelia. Fred lost his mood. Not as happy now. And Amelia is still happy and thriving. Let's try and improve their friendships. There. See, now we have one heart with Amelia because we talked to her every day and we fed her every day, but we never did with Wilfred. And now he's like that. Okay, and that's it for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. And thank you all for your support, especially to our Patreons. And we're going to be changing the format of our series a little bit from here on. And I hope it will be better in the coming parts. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.